Thank you very much. And on those the three different points that we all thought were different in importance is, you take a look at it, they were all important, every aspect of it. And here's a little factoid for you, is that 26% of Americans, not children, not college students, 26% of Americans, this was just on Fox News the other day, that they didn't even know that we broke off and revolted from England. So, you know, if you don't have the educational background of exactly, you know, where we came from, why we're here, what are we doing, you don't even understand when and this is part of the presentation, but you don't even understand when your rights are eroded away. You didn't even know that you had them. So, what I wanted to do tonight, thank you for giving me this opportunity, but just to tell you a brief bit about myself, and then get into the Fourth Amendment. I originally hail from the great state of Iowa, so Davenport. Thank you. And you can see, is there anyone here from Minnesota?
Yes.
You better watch it, because we're going to take back that territory. You keep churning out people like Al Franken. We're going to take it back. So that's a little bit of history of Iowa. I'm from a big family. I'm the third of 9 children, and we're all very close. And that's the that was probably like 1991. So unfortunately, about 2 years later, after that picture on the left was taken, my father passed away. So it left, you know, we had a 3-year-old, and so this is a little background on me and who I am, where I came from, but very close family. Family is intensely important to me, and I see that, you know, being part of this Northern Illinois Patriots is like an extended family, and that's what I love about this. So that's my wife, and Bea. And we live in Gurnee. We've been in Illinois for about 16 years. And I am a salesman. So in about 6th grade, they asked me, what do you wanted to do? I said, I want to sell insurance. And they go, oh, that's interesting. Well, that's what my dad did. He was an insurance salesman. So I learned way back when about college and taxes. I worked my way through school, and I sold insurance in college. And I learned about $10,000. And at the end of the year, they go, you owe $4,000 in taxes. I had already spent that money on tuition. So that's why I learned early on what taxes are all about, and they're not good. And I've been at Englewood for the last 15 years. So one of the reasons why I'm here as a concerned citizen is all of the different things, and this is all preaching to the choir, about the unsustainable debt, creeping socialism, all of the things that have been going on, not just in the last 2 years, but we're talking in the last 10 years. The Patriot Act, the different things about taking away habeas corpus, and never-ending wars, and just a continual waste and waste and waste of money. You know, I read a great book about what causes empires to fall, and there's one common denominator in that, and that is profligate spending. Every empire, from the Han Dynasty to the Ferdinand and Isabel, the Spanish Dynasty or the Spanish Empire, all of them fell because they spent way too much money. So that's why we're all here. And this is I wanted to show this. This crystallized why I got involved. And it shows the continuity of history, that people have to realize that we've been, you know, this country has been around for 230 years, and this is the death certificate of my great-uncle, Harry Welch. He died in World War I on October 31st. And so on Memorial Day a couple of years ago, it really crystallized to me that, you know, my family, everyone here, we're all part of this country, and we're part of this country for a long time. And you look at this, there are people here that have been around for 70 years. That's almost 1/3 of the entire length of the entire existence of this country. So what we're doing today is intensely important, and our ties to history are there. So that's one of the things that I wanted to share. And this is why I'm actually here, is to secure the future for my child. And I want her to have the same opportunity that I had, and the same opportunity to have success. So that's, I think, why we're all here, truthfully. And those are two of her little cousins, so it's great. So, talking about this, the Fourth Amendment, and the reason why I wanted to do this, as far as education, is to let people know, Fourth Amendment, what it is, why we have it, and where did it come from, and why is it important today. So, the Fourth Amendment is the right of the people to be secure in their persons, house, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures, and that shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue, but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, particularly describing the place to be searched, and the persons or things to be searched. And this is what's particularly important about today, okay? Because we'll get into a little bit of the pictures, but I'm not going to get into the, the minutiae of the case law and things of that nature. But you have to understand that when we did when we revolted against the dictatorship in England, there was a reason why. It's because the king came in, they would conscript our people, they would come into our homes, they would take our property, so we didn't have the rights. And these rights were established in English case law. So there's a couple on Semane's case, and this case, Entick versus Carrington. And these two also cover, that a person, and look at this, the house of everyone to him as his castle and his fortress. So every person's individual rights and everyone's individual person is their own. And you have to know that. These are rights that are given to us by God, not by man. And these are some of the case laws behind it. And then also, probable cause is also intensely important. So, colonial period, the colonists were disgruntled with writs of assistance, which are very broad-based warrants. So the king could come in, sure, you want your warrant, here's the warrant. We can search your property, we can do whatever we want. And the reason why we have the Fourth Amendment is against this arbitrary power. So, this is a little bit of information, a little history. It goes back hundreds and hundreds of years, even before the founding of this country, of course. But 1756, they passed the search and seizure laws to protect the colonists. And James Adams, I found this quote while I was doing the research for it, is that the spark that originated the American Revolution was from this lawyer, James Otis. Okay, and then it goes into the history of the Virginia Declaration of Rights, which led directly to the Declaration of Independence. So, this is a great quote that relates to this. Mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms which they are accustomed. And seeing that is like most people are like, most people are looking, and this goes right into what the TSA is, more people are going to suffer this than fight against what this is. Now these are everyone's heard about the TSA, okay? And you either have a choice of being groped or you have a choice of this. Now they say there's no way that these pictures can be public. Well, it's not true. It's already happened with the Florida courthouse, where some, like the people said earlier, is that man isn't perfect. So there's always going to be some jerk, somewhere along the line that's going to do this. So you either have this, or you can have this, be groped. And the real disgusting thing about this is that people are letting it happen to themselves now. People aren't fighting it.
My mother's not a terrorist. She's 90.
That's a great point, because I would have very little worry about the mother from Minnesota with her 3 children going through the line. The probability of her blowing herself up is probably 1 in 10 billion. I mean, it's not going to happen. And what this does are you ready for your next summer trip there?
Yeah.
But the truth is on this is that the application today, we have our rights, and they're trying to push against us and take them away. Okay? Little bits at a time. Now what this does with the TSA, it's a structured, rigid responses. That's not how it can work. I mean, the shoe bomber, they ban shoes. The underwear bomber, they search your underwear. The toner cartridges. You know, heard about that one where the toner cartridges came through? Now toner cartridges are banned. It's trying to establish a rigid response to something that is flexible. Now, an example here is the Israeli security. They do not have these type of searches. They look at people, they ask questions very simply, you know, and they profile. Okay? So, moving on. This is just another point of the gradual erosion of our rights, and that goes with government surveillance, cell phone GPS tracking. These are all things that are going on today, and the point of it today I wanted to bring up is that this is the very beginning. This is the very beginning of all this. You know, 5 years ago we didn't have cameras on every corner, right? We didn't have this type of additional searches. And it's just a gradual erosion and a gradual push. We're pushing the population. And we have to be aware of our rights, read the Constitution, learn this stuff, so that way you can be on the education side of that three-legged stool, okay? You have to be educated. We have to have the transparency. We have to do these things, and we are on the front lines. This is serious business that we're in right now. So, we just need to keep it going. And moving on, Marcia's going to run me out of time here, but this is the thing. It's all intrusive. There's much opportunity for abuse. And I'm preaching to the choir here, but I think you all are very aware of what they're trying to do. Now you can either take it, or you can fight against it. And we're here to fight against it.
Yes.
Aren't you, Harold?
These are our neighbors that are elected, voting to do these things. Yeah. And they come to your door, oh, they're so nice, they got a shirt and tie on, and they're all very friendly people. You're exactly right, sir. Right on the money, we need to fight against this. I agree.
Absolutely. So these are the things that I'm trying to do. And what we're going to do is continue to educate people, and we're going to move it on into different levels and different places, and go after, you know, like right at like CLC and in colleges. We have to educate the people around us, our families, and the youth. So that's really what I'm all about.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Doesn't cable TV have a public access channel? Don't they,
Sure.
aren't they required to do that? Why not do it on the public access channel?
Yeah, we could.
I mean,
that's actually
it's
interesting because Tony.
Underutilized. I know that people don't use it.
Mm-hmm.
I had an interview show about 10 years ago in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and maybe 10 people saw it, but it was fun.
No, that's something that actually Tony had thought about, is having some sort of back and forth discussion on these topics that we can do and put it online and put on the public access. Why not?
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
So you are on the education team.
You're on my education team.
She's experienced in education. Well, there you go, your first volunteer.
All right. Just signing people up.
Yeah, no fooling around tonight, guys.
Heath, I was just going to comment and say it's a great presentation, and you're stressing the importance of educating people, I think cannot be understated. One of the things I think it's important to remind people when you look at the writings, for example, of Henry David Thoreau, he doesn't talk about the right of civic responsibility and the right of civil disobedience. He talks about the responsibility of civil disobedience. That we have a responsibility, again, to hold these folks accountable. You know, and when you talk about rights being taken away, it's important to remind people, for example, that when Hitler marched through Germany and marched through Poland and things like that, he initially didn't go and say, hey, I'm going to take over the world or try and take over the world. He basically said, hey, I'm your friend, give me your guns. And then once everybody said, oh, happy, love, love, let me give you my gun, then he marched into Poland, and then he started doing the crazy things he wanted to do. So you have to remind people of their history, and those who don't know their history are doomed to repeat it, and we are allowing that to happen again in this country with our civil liberties being taken away inch by inch, step by step. And it's very
Yes! I'd like you to move to Waukegan in 2 years and run for mayor.
That's true. Any other questions?
One more point to that.
one point, okay.
He skipped over Switzerland. And why did he skip over Switzerland? Because every person in that country was armed. Not only were they
And Sweden.
they spent a week a year doing nothing but marksmanship.
Exactly.
And Hitler wasn't going to touch them and wouldn't touch them because they had their
Exactly. They were armed.
Exactly
Just like
right.
in all the Norwegian states.
Exactly right. All right, so I think,
Okay. And then, Tony just brought up a good point, is, yeah, please come to me, and actually Charles did earlier. Let me know what topics you want to talk about in the upcoming meetings, things to be educated. Obviously, Harold, there's a lot of great things you brought up earlier. These need to be addressed, and they need to be brought up, and people need to be educated more than, we'll have takeaway sheets, whatever it is, but please let me know what you want to talk about, and we will. This is all-encompassing education, transparency, and local leadership, and moving the ball forward. And like you said, it is our responsibility. It's our duty. It's our duty as citizens to hold them accountable, but also to spread the word. So that's what we're all about today. So thank you very much. Thanks for the time.